King, Cubes of the Cash, Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joined, as I am, almost every Thursday with my co-host, Digger Jim. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
And, of course, we have Steve the Voice White. How you doing tonight, Steve?
Excellent.
And check out both these gentlemen's links in the description below and sub both of them up if you haven't. But we're not here for those schmucks. No. We have the main attraction tonight. We have Marcus from Surcam Stances. Marcus, how you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. Glad to be back for my second appearance on the fabled 10.
Now, was the second time picking out books harder than the first, or was it easier?
It was harder because, I just try not to be boring, basically. It's like, how can I not be boring? Let's see. Well, fingers crossed, guys.
You can't be. We're all talking about stuff we love, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll
all
let
right.
the audience decide that. We'll let the audience be the judge.
You know what I like to do? Tell the audience who may be catching you for the first time on the rewind, because everyone that's in the chat knows you and loves you. They're here for you. But those who are catching you and seeing Marcus Circumstances for the first time, who are you? What is your channel about? What is your IG? Let them know.
Well, this answer is a little different than the answer I gave last time. My channel in the first time I was on here was about slideshows and kind of highlighting artists and things, but I've kind of moved away from the edited videos, and I just do a weekly live show on Tuesday nights called FOC and Chill, or FOC and Chill. And it originally was designed to be a show where we went over the final order cutoff for the upcoming Monday. So that was my idea, that we would just go over the books we were excited about coming up. But the other part of the idea was that I would share the link in the chat, and whoever wanted to join could jump in and in theory talk about the FOC books. But what ended up happening is I put the link in the chat and they all jump in and refuse to talk about FOC.
So it's more chill than FOC.
Yeah. So it's called FOC and Chill, but really we're just chilling because they won't let me do the FOC.
Every once in a while I've seen you do some of it.
It's been a long, I think it was like episode 6 we're on episode 37, and I think like episode 6 is the last time.
Yeah, the last one I was watching, you guys went on about the awards again for a while.
Yeah, well, Comic Journey is always good for that. So Comic Journey is always good to jump on and spice things up. I know Legion of Comics is another great one. Of course, then I have my regulars, Evil Mike and Scotty Vaughn. So yeah, it's just it's always interesting to see who's going to be there, number one, and number two, what do they want to talk about that week. So definitely check it out. Always a good time, and everyone is welcome, man. As long as you're not going to jump on and show your dick.
And I ended up with insomnia that night, so I was able to watch the whole episode without falling.
Nice. Wow. Nice. Thank you for that. Thank you for that watch. I thought you were talking about Comic Journey and Insomniacs.
Yeah. No, I actually legitimately had insomnia, so I got to watch your whole FOC without passing out.
Nice.
I'll try to pop in and hit the thumbs up at least before I fall asleep.
I know. I appreciate that too, man, because I'm the same way. I'm usually ready for bed. I work at 6 a.m., so it's sometimes hard to stay up.
4:30.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, got me beat there.
All right, so let's get to the audience. We're going to say hi to the chat. Then we're going to come back to you for your first book. So first in, as always, James, how you doing tonight, sir? Las Cruces. Kevin, one of the best supporters out there. How you doing, Kevin? Mr. Unruly Simeon, great to see you again, sir. And we have one of my favorite people here, Anachronic Comics. Joe, how you doing?
Joe.
Paul from Psychedelic Comics. Good evening, sir. And I really think you and your personalities and Joe and his personalities need to make a video together.
Yeah, exactly.
have Bruno and a pimp named Slaughter in there together.
Yes.
Talking about the other two guys.
I want to see what Bruno does.
Ever Jerry the Jitterbug. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hey, Jerry.
Rocket Comics, guys. He is coming up next month, so pay attention. Chris from Retro Rocket Comics will be on the 10-1-1.
Cool.
Oh boy.
Right?
You ready?
Steve White. We try to forget him, but he just keeps popping up.
I know. I can't help it.
Ryan LCS, how you doing tonight, sir? Tony from Comicverse. Good to see you, Tony. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And Brad, how you doing, Brad? Nice to see you, sir.
My White Walker brother.
Wilbur.
And
our oil rig brother.
Yeah. Please go sub up his new channel where he talks about books called Sleepy Book Reader.
Yeah. I checked that out. It's pretty cool.
So good.
And Warlord, how you doing tonight, sir? He had a great win. He won a FF49 from Mr. Comics 89.
Phew, no
Yeah.
way.
Actual Dracula, how you doing tonight, Adrian? Good to see you, sir.
What up,
Mr.
Drag?
DVH also coming up for a second appearance on the 1011 soon.
Yeah.
Hoot hoot.
DVH is my hero.
Loved his video for the CBC Awards.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
the best. There's no music. That made me. I almost peed.
That was the
I was
killer,
laughing.
yeah.
Right? The no music was great. 80s guy, good evening, sir. Nice to see you.
My man.
Bobby Catalano, nice to see you, Bobby. Thank you for stopping in.
Bobby.
Oh, she's such a great supporter.
I didn't know 80s guy was going to be here. I need some flavored liquor, man. My bad.
Marty Alecko, nice to see you, sir. Thank you for coming by. So we are getting a full house going already. C Bizzle, good to see you, buddy. And I haven't talked to him in a while. I got to catch up with C Bizzle at some point.
C Bizzle, yeah. What's up?
Yeah,
man?
just really, he's just one of our really good dudes in our community. All right,
No.
but without further ado, Marcus, let's get to your first book. Let's get this rolling.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to start off with a gift that was given to me by a well-known member of this community. I go to comic book movies with a couple of friends, from one from college, one from work, but longtime friends, and we always go to these comic book movies together. And we added my homie Beckerman to our group going to these comic book movies together. And the first one that we went together, Beckerman, after the movie, he pulls me aside in the parking lot, and he's like, "Okay, don't get weird."
It's already weird.
Here we go.
Don't get weird, but here, take this. And he handed me a gift. I had mentioned on a show once that I had wanted this book, and Beckerman, being the guy that he is, if he hears you say that, it's a good chance he's going to hook you up. So,
Holy crap.
Wow.
my man hooked me up with a Captain America number 100 classic cover.
Wow.
Absolutely love this book. I'm going to get this thing cleaned and pressed and submitted, and this will absolutely never leave my collection, man. This is definitely has Beckerman attached to it. And I love that line. Don't get weird, man.
You're weird, man.
You gave him a hug, though, didn't you?
Saying it,
I
you
did
know?
give him a hug. You damn
I
right.
knew it.
did. Shout out to Beckerman for hooking me up with this great classic book. I'm so proud to have it in my PC. And in my PC, it will always be. Boom.
Nice.
Beckerman the legend.
Great start. And what a great gift.
Yeah.
Yes. That's my brother right there, man. My Kansas City brother. We go to a lot of local wrestling shows together, and he's got me really hooked. I never thought that I would be a local wrestling sort of fellow, but I absolutely am. I'm completely hooked into this whole scene, to the culture, to the people that we see. I love it. I love to root for the heels.
You got Brad from
Okay.
Canada picking on you. You
Start off
starting
with
with
crap.
crap, I see.
Come on. All right. We'll see if we can pick it up here. Probably not. But so I got one of my absolute favorite books that I ever read since coming back to comic books in early 2021, late 2020, was this story about a possible future where humans no longer work for themselves. They actually are kind of pets to a robot. Are you raising your hand? Oh.
Right.
So every robot has a family that's assigned to them that they kind of take care of as like pets. So they go to work every day, and humans no longer work for themselves. They're entirely reliant upon robots. The atmosphere to the earth is completely blown because of human negligence. And so the robots have taken over and they control everything. And with everything going on with AI, I thought this book was really prescient, and it's really become more interesting to me as AI becomes a bigger deal to us. So, and I actually got to meet Mark Russell at Fountain Con last year for Not All Robots, and I got him to sign my series for it. So
That's cool.
Fantastic. It's a good
I didn't
series.
know he
Too.
wrote that.
It
Mark
is-
Russell's a good writer.
Yeah.
I love this series, and again, just not only just the metaphors of AI and how it's going. But there's metaphors all over the place that you really got to pay attention to the book to catch everything. There's a lot going on in this
And a
book.
good book with a lot of potential, but it's dropped right off a cliff. Like you can get 9/8 of that like super cheap.
Yeah.
Now.
And I think that there's a ton of potential. This easily could have been my spec book. Because especially with the world that we see growing around us, this is becoming more and more possible. So if you're not plugged in on this one, definitely go grab the
Was it like 6 issues, Marcus?
4 issues. It was
4
only
issues?
4 issues, I think, or maybe it was 5. It might have been 5.
Yeah, I can't
but not
remember
that many
now.
issues. Yeah, I think it was 5 actually. It was 5.
Got
issues.
it.
But a nice short book. Hopefully we get more of it, but it's still, even if we don't get more of it, it stands alone well.
Right. And you can always revisit.
Yeah.
AWA does that. They put out these little short runs of books, which is actually kind of cool too, because if you don't have a big commitment, but if it's a good series, then they'll bring back a second or third round of it, right? Like Erratic is another one.
I talked to Mark Russell. There was a second round was not imminent. Hopefully he comes up with something, because I really like the world that he set up there. It was real good. Right. That was what that was number 2.
No, yep, that was number 2, sir.
Okay, next up, we're gonna go with one of my first slabs that I got.
Oh yeah,
and it's from James Tynan the Fourth. Long live King James Tynan the Fourth. Everybody knows that I'm a stan for James Tynan. I love most everything that he writes. I love the heart in his books that he writes, and I really identify and relate to a lot of what he writes about. So, absolutely one of my favorites. This is the second print of Wind #1, which is. It's kind of a kiddie book. It definitely works for kids, but I love the heart in this book, and they really enjoy it. And it's a really interesting kind of RPG world that he's building, and I'm an RPG nerd. So for all those reasons, I really love Wind, plugged in for the whole series, and I absolutely adore this second print book, actually. So. And
it had a second series too, didn't it, Marcus?
Thrown in the Sky. So there was a second series, and it was also really good. So it's a little kiddie. So if you're not looking for like kiddie kind of stuff, then you definitely want to pass on Wind. Or if you're worried about wokeness, obviously you probably want to pass on Wind. But if you aren't worried about those kind of things, I really enjoy Wind.
Yeah, that was a passion project for James. That one was near and dear to his heart. He really wanted to do that story. So,
and one of the best covers Peach from Local ever did was for that series with the face. That cover was amazing.
She's a killer.
All right,
okay.
All right. Number 4, sir.
All right. So number 4, we're going to go with my greatest backbend find. So I was at B's Comic South here in the Kansas City area, and I was at a shop. They have a great backbends, and I was digging in through the Batman. And I actually had the entire run of Batman Volume 3, starting with Tynan at 86. So I had every single book except for one, which is the first appearance of Punchline, 89. And so as I'm digging through these backbends and I get to the Batman, I find this book unbagged and unboard. And sure enough, it was Batman 89. No bag, no board, and it was the only book that I needed. Yeah, I was like, no bag, no board. What the? So like, I
completely disqualified.
And it's a super. I'm like, man, this is a super clean copy. Like it had no bag, no board, but I still think it's a 9/8. So I actually took that thing and like less than a month later, took it to Planet Comic-Con and slapped that thing in front of James Tynan and had him sign it and send it off to CGC. And that no bag, no board, Batman 89.
Holy
nice. And with a signature on it.
Wow.
He always puts in the thing.
No bag, no board, came back in 9/8. Could not believe that. I was expecting 9/6. It was sitting there with no bag, no board.
Amazing.
Now I know you've always been a big Punchline fan, right? You really you just really enjoy the character.
I like Punchline. I'm more of a Tynan fan than a Punchline fan, but I did enjoy Punchline. She was fun, and I like the way she's drawn too.
Yeah, it's the way he writes it too. I mean, it's just his storylines are great.
Yeah, I mean, Batman wasn't his best stuff, but I didn't hate it. I liked the Scarecrow stuff. That was fun. But yeah, I could not believe it was a 9/8, man. Definitely my biggest backbend diving win right there.
Yeah, what'd you pay for that thing raw too, with no bag and no board?
Cover price.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I paid $4 for it. It was of according to Key Collector, it was a $50 book, and I got that bad boy for $4, and it was a 9.8.
Nice.
Huge win for me. I love that one. Okay, moving right along, keeping it moving. Let's go with a little comics curing cancer action. So, as you've mentioned, I got a little character called the pimp named Slaughter. I throw on this silly wig, and I raise my voice up, and kind of go after a character based off the pimp named Slipback from Boondocks. If you ever watched that cartoon, Boondocks, Cat Williams had a character, a pimp named Slickback, and so I was playing off of that. And because I'm a huge fan of Something's Killing the Children, I just went with Slaughter, House of Slaughter, Erica Slaughter, my girl. And the reason why I came up with that character is because we had been coming up with slideshows and things, trying to promote events such as Comic Book Community Awards and also Comics Curing Cancer. And I've come to find out that the slideshows that we were making weren't really the best way to promote things. The algorithm was not really a fan of slideshows. So I was like, well, how can I, help these guys promote this stuff? And that's where the pimp named Slaughter came from. I was like, all right, let me put this wig on, come up with a dumb character, and kind of use that to promote Comics Curing Cancer. And so my first video was actually bragging about winning an auction, and I included a clip of when this book was auctioned, because when it was coming up, I was saying, guys, hurry up and auction this before Chris gets here, because I know Chris is a big
right.
And so I was like, guys, can you please auction this before he gets here? And they actually ended up auctioning it. He got there right after I won it, like just after I won the thing, he showed up. And so I decided to make a character pimp named Slaughter, kind of bragging and going after Chris about that. And that's where the character was born from. And it turned out to be a great idea. People he's getting many requests to do many things. And
you might have to slip in the character for at least one book.
So yeah. I was glad that I came up with it, and it was all because of this book right here. And of course, Miko Suyon signed Something is Killing the Children, number 30.
Yeah,
and I just love that color and Erica cover.
I mean, and every issue there is no shortage of variants for that book.
No,
never. Never.
The Jenny prisons are the best.
It's absurd. Let me pull this up real quick because it's absolutely absurd. There's 35 total issues of Something is Killing the Children. So if you had one copy of each issue, you would have 34, 5, right? So if I go and look at mine, I have 152 copies of 35 issues. So that's how stupid I am.
Yeah, you like it. Just a little bit.
I would poke fun at you, but the new Conan comic is only 5 issues in. I think I got 30 something covers. So I'm just gonna shut up and sit in my seat.
and that's really the evolution of my collecting. In the beginning, it was about, I was just trying everything. Oh, you like this? Let me try, and just really trying to find what my path was. And now that I'm 3 years in, I know my path, and I'm no longer kind of grabbing this and that. I'm just obsessing over what I obsess over. And Something is Killing the Children is absolutely one of the things I obsess over, and I will buy pretty much anything. It doesn't matter. Shut the fuck up and take my money if you're
right.
That's right.
Yeah, because it don't matter, dog. I want it. That's how I tell my
Callie saying like, that's at least over $35. His is just with the one book, with the magic book. My shop will ask me if hey, do you want this? You shut up, give me. Yes, I want it. I want it. Why are you asking me? You know that I want it. Just shut up and give it to me. So yeah, I love that stuff. All right, so moving on, let's do some sketch covers here. I do a show every Wednesday night with my comic book dad over at Indie Comics and Reviews, my comic book dad, Lorenzo. And our 2-year anniversary, he's been doing this show longer, but our 2-year anniversary of us doing it together is coming up this February. And he's a great dude. Definitely check out his page or his channel if you're not plugged in, Lorenzo. And he's a great artist. He produces and makes his own comics. He does. I have some here.
The first time I came on the 1011, actually the first books I shared were actually his books that I got from his site. So I love me some Lorenzo, love me some Indie Comics and Reviews. And I love his art. I really like his style. And he was kind enough to send me an AOK. And in that AOK was included a twig
Wow.
sketch cover from him
That's
that
awesome.
I absolutely just
That
love
is
this.
amazing.
He did that?
Yeah, this is Twig sketch. It looks like a legit cover, doesn't it?
It
I
does,
thought
yeah.
it was. I was like,
Holy
I don't
crap.
remember seeing that one.
And
That's
Lorenzo too has another one of those guys in the community. He's got that voice.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got the deep voice. A lot of people compare me and him in terms of voice, but honestly, maybe it's because I'm, it's you don't like your own voice, but like my voice does not compare to his. His voiceover abilities just far exceed mine, if you ask me. So yeah, definitely check him out. We need to get that man some voiceover work because he's definitely got it, and he's got some skills on the drawing. That does
Yeah.
look like a
Right.
He
legitimate
needs to
cover
be
there.
on
So,
Between the Lines or something.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
trying to get him on there. Actually, he does need to be on there. So I need to get back on
Ooh.
working with Roscoe
Why
and
is-
TM to get that done.
StreamYard is giving me problems tonight.
Scotty would be proud of that one.
it
80s
would.
guys picking on you. He's also better looking.
I'm not gonna deny that, brother. I'm not gonna deny that. He is, especially when you factor in age. Yeah, he's definitely better looking than me because he's old enough to
Jim,
be.
Matt
on
Woods is asking you a question in the chat.
Gonna be at that Steel City Con.
Ooh, is that Pittsburgh?
Yeah. So that was that was when you brought that up. I was like, oh, he gifted him just a legit a cover. Then you said he did it, and like, I mean, it just looks like something they put out. That thing's amazing.
All
But I'm
right,
not
so
surprised having some Lorenzo work here myself from his self-published comic, which is
well, if you are so interested, I would highly recommend commissioning some work from him. He's available and he does great stuff, man. And like I said, I'm really proud of this one. And sticking with sketch covers, I went to Heroes Con in 2022. Got to hang out with Brother John and Digger Jim and a bunch of great YouTube folks and just community folks. And it was such a great time. I was supremely bummed that I didn't get to hang out with you guys this year. But I will be there next year. Believe that. I will absolutely be back next year at Heroes Con. But when I was there, I actually met an artist. He's actually a local artist, but I met him at Heroes Con, Jeffrey Edwards. He's an artist on Siphon, which is a book that's in volume 2 now. And he does a bunch of great covers. And we talked about, we started talking about our kids, and my daughter was born 3 months early. And so she spent 89 days in the hospital, and
wow.
His son was also born premature. So we kind of bonded and connected over that shared experience, which is a hell of an experience, as you can imagine. And kind of been friends ever since then. And at Planet Comic Con, I actually got him to commission a sketch for me. And I gave him a bunch of sketch covers and let him choose which one. Actually, it wasn't Planet Comic Con. It was Fountain Con. Actually, think about it. It was Fountain Con. And he gave me a Hulk sketch that is just absolutely fucking sick. And my favorite
level.
Wow.
My favorite thing about this sketch is the hands. As a fan of Ink Master, it's a show about tattoo artists doing these challenges. One of the things that always trips them up is hands.
Yeah,
because hands are so difficult to do. And my man absolutely killed his fists on this. I just stare at it. And I definitely want to get this thing colored eventually, because that's going to really pop off the shadowing that he's done is if you get it colored. But the thing looks great not colored as well. Absolutely proud of this. One of my prized possessions in my collection. That thing is just so sick to me, man. Look at the line work on that.
Yeah, just phenomenal.
Jeff, definitely check out Jeff, man. He is phenomenal. Jeffrey Edwards Illustrated. That's my guy. This is not one of my books, but I did get a slab from him. It's just a sketchbook of his with a sketch on the cover. Him and his wife.
Oh, nice.
I got this at the last Fountain Con. It was a Garage Con, but yeah, I was happy to snag this thing because I'm just a huge, like I said, I'm no longer trying to go after spec, and I'm no longer trying to get big keys. I'm just going after the things that I love. And I love Jeffrey Edwards. So
it's amazing how much more fun you have with a hobby when you do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
It really is. And its stuff goes up in value, goes down in value. Don't make a fuck to me. I don't care because it's what I wanted. So yeah, it's definitely the way to, people say it all the time. It's cliche, collect what you love, but there's a reason why it's cliche, right? And it's cliche for good reason. All right, who has any idea what number on? Because I actually.
You're number 8, sir.
Okay. Number 8. All right, let's do this next one then. Actually, no, we'll save that one for the story, and we'll save this one for spec.
I agree with you, Bobby. She says she
Yeah.
likes black and white. I love black and white.
Okay, let's go with this one. So, when I was a kid, I collected in the 90s. And, obviously, I loved foil. I loved Spider-Man. I loved all the stuff that the 90s kids loved. And I loved Image. And my favorite, to this day, I couldn't even really tell you why it was my favorite. But my favorite book was a Rob Liefeld book for Image called Prophet.
Mhm.
And the first appearance of Prophet was Youngblood #2.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out and bought this slab strictly for this. I think it was a $60 slab on eBay. But I just wanted to have, I have this book raw, but it's a really crappy book because it's my book from when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I didn't understand that you couldn't have little spine ticks and things. I thought it was enough just to have the book. I didn't know that, all these little things mattered so
Right.
much. So I do have a childhood copy of this book, but it's nowhere near a 9.8. So when I saw this thing on eBay, I said, give me this damn thing. Because I do love me some Prophet. It was my favorite thing. And of course, there's this spec value to it with Jake Gyllenhaal maybe playing him in a movie. We'll see if that actually pans out. But one of my favorite covers, and I loved it. This is on my wall, actually, because this is one of my favorite books from my childhood. A Prophet Cometh, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. 90s goodness. Big, bold art.
So, and I'm listening. I'm just answering Bobby's question because I'm always.
No, you're fine.
In the chat.
Okay, so that's 9.
No, that's the first time somebody's brought Prophet on here for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's a first.
cherry. Okay, so I got this book, this next book, number 10. I'm choosing this book because it represents like the beginning of me coming back. And when I first came back, I came back with that 90s mentality, which is buy 10 copies of this number 1, 6 months, a year later, millionaire, right? This idea that you buy a bunch of copies of this book, it's going to profit. And I came in with that mentality in the beginning. And the book that I came in with that mentality the most with was Berserker #1. I just could not stop buying.
Oh God, you got every variant, didn't you?
I have an absurd number of Berserker #1s, and it was just because I kept seeing it and I just couldn't stop buying it. It was Keanu Reeves. There's like 500,000 copies of this book, right? This book is the 90s all over again. It's the closest thing that we've gotten in modern times to the 90s.
Lee's trying to help you out with that by just
Yeah.
He is strategically.
He's looking out for your
good
spec.
number.
Yeah.
Thank you to Lee from Whack Comics for all the work he's doing for raising the value of my absurd number of Berserker #1. So I have a bunch of copies of number 1A, 1B, and all those. But this is the only copy I have of this one, and this might be the most rare copy.
I've never seen it.
This is the second print.
Okay.
And the second print was way over ordered. Most people that ordered this actually got their order canceled. So I do think this is the least printed #1.
So that's your $1 million book right there.
It's that foil goodness right there. I really do love this cover. Yeah. But this one is staying with me, even if it did hit. This one is because these Berserker books are a part of like the story of me coming back to comics, which is really just such a momentous event in my life, really, because it led to YouTube and Instagram and all you guys, which has been, I'm 4 years in now, and I've known you guys for years now, which is crazy, Gary. I was on your show for the first time in July of 2022. So well over a year ago, I was on the 10-1-1. So it's amazing that I've known you guys for so long. It's amazing that you've been doing this for so long, Gary.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm still doing these shows either. Like you don't realize that you start something. I'm like, oh, we'll see how long it goes, and then it's like 3 years later, you're like, wow, it's still going. And
you
then
just look up one day.
Yeah,
it's amazing. But that's the beautiful thing. And I talked about this on my show Tuesday. It was like one of the big draws for us, and it's why we like live so much. A lot of us like live so much is because when I grew up in the 90s collecting comics, not a single one of my friends thought it was cool or thought I was cool.
Yeah.
In fact, they all made fun of me.
Yeah.
And so it was a thing that I did anyway, despite being made fun of, but I didn't get to share it with anyone at all. Right. It was
Right.
just it was me and Wizard, right? It was me and the
Yeah.
Wizard writers, and that was it in terms of of sharing this. And that was the big difference when I came back in 2021 is coming online and being excited about comic books, but not only getting to be excited about comic books, but getting to share it with a bunch of other nerds who were also
Right.
excited about it.
Ones who appreciate it.
It was a completely new experience, and I'm still getting drunk every day off that experience. And I don't see myself stopping anytime soon, man. And thank you, 80s guy.
Nope.
So 80s guy has a Wednesday night regular, and I spent some Wednesday nights drinking some Crown Royal, some apple Crown Royal, and 80s guy won't let me forget it. Apparently, flavored whiskey is a no-no. I didn't know this. At least if you want to be manly, anyway. But yeah, Berserker. If anybody needs a copy of Berserker 1A, I got you, dog. $20 each.
Did you get the signature one?
Contact Lee still has like 300 copies.
What was the signature one?
I don't.
That
have
was like
any
1 in 2,000 or something like that, or 1 in 1,000.
Oh yeah, that might be.
Remember that
That's
one?
probably the most rare, actually.
Yeah,
I'm thinking so.
Yeah, but outside of that, the second print is up there for sure. Oh wow, New England just scored again. What is going on?
Dope
Okay.
Comics.
All right, so that was number 10. All right, so number 10, we'll do the story. That's spec. So we'll do another book that brings. No, let's do this one. So I found this book after the fact. So obviously, Stray Dogs hype was. I got this book before number
huge.
2, but number 1 was sold out everywhere. But I found this one lone copy at this shop. Actually, the same shop I found Batman '89. I found this one lone copy of Stray Dogs number 1. Now it's a 9.6, unfortunately, but I'm super happy to have a copy of number 1 because this is a big book. It's back on the list apparently because there's some news going on with some people being attached to the is it Paramount, I think, that optioned it. So this one could have been the spec book. There's some excitement going on about this one, but the hype around this book is another part of the beginning of me jumping back in. Just everyone being super excited about all the horror variants and all that. Like this was really the first big hype book when I came back in, besides Berserker, obviously. But so it
really elevated Tony Fleeks when that book came up too.
Him and Trish, both of them. Both of them are rock stars now, and it all started with this book. Yeah. So,
have you ever seen this Tony Fleeks cover?
No, but I like it. Black Cat. I know you love some Black Cat. Very nice. And they were at Heroes Con too. Very nice people, man. I enjoyed talking to them. I would have got this one signed, but it was already slabbed. I didn't want to unslab it. But
no, there's nothing wrong.
Love me some Stray Dogs.
9.6. There's nothing to frown at. It's a good grade.
It's for the PC too. So if it wasn't for the PC, I'd be super upset. But for the PC, 9.6 ain't no thing. So yeah, I mean 9.8 would have been cool, but it's in my collection, so not losing any value there.
Now, before we get to the 11th, I did have a question for you because when you get back in, and usually it's with something from the big 2, but you quickly turned into an indie focus guy. And is it your love just been there with the shorter form storytelling, or you just think that the writing's been just elevated in those areas when the writers aren't having to stick to a long history and they can be more creative?
It's the reason. I never really thought about the reason why. It was kind of a natural thing. I think it was born of being a kid in the 90s and just really being excited about image and the concept of image, of creators owning their stuff and just being fans of the rock stars that started it, Rob, Silvestri, Todd, all of them, just being so when I came back in, image was definitely high on my list. And it's by far, I buy the most image books by far more than any other publisher by a long shot.
And it's funny because they're so big now. I don't really consider them an indie, although they're labeled as an indie still. But
they absolutely are an indie.
Comics now, I think of the big 3, which would be Marvel, DC, Image.
Right.
But Image is by definition independent because of the creator-owned aspect.
Correct.
So it's by definition. It will always be independent.
Yeah. But they've just been
no matter how big they get, they're always
dominant that you think of them as this entity,
Yeah, and I love them, man. But what you said, I think, is true. Is that I do like Marvel and DC books. Probably DC a little more than Marvel in terms of comic books. But I think the indie books are just better because they're more free. They're not. They're just less constrained, and they're more likely to offer you a starting point. A story with this easy starting point is another reason why.
Right.
You can jump
It's
in on
something you
you
can
know
easily get into. Oh, I'm here
yeah,
from step one.
right from the
Right.
beginning,
You don't have to
and
go into
that's
the
another
back history.
and that's another part of it too. That's part of like some people want to get the big keys and
Mm.
they want to get the run of Hulk 180. They want to get the big stuff, and that's cool. However you want to collect is cool. But for me, honestly, my dream is not getting the key after the fact, but like being on the key from the beginning. Like so, let's say, for example, the Me You Love in the Dark gets optioned and it becomes this huge sensation. Well, I bought that shit from the beginning off the rack, right? That excites me. The idea of doing that is also a really exciting thing. And you're much more likely to get that from an indie book as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's also part of it.
Right. Because I think the only one in our community, there's two people in our community that have the books since they came out. That's Metarog and Anachronic Comics.
Yeah. That's Sleepy Reader. I put Sleepy in there.
Yeah,
Yes,
Damien. Yeah.
And they all paid less than $1 for them, the bastards.
They
Right.
did. They did. The OGs right there, man.
Right.
Undefeated.
Don't worry, Joe never lets us forget it in his videos.
No.
I paid 2 cents for this. Suckers.
15
He
cents,
should
I think
brag.
it was.
Number 11 with a story, sir.
He's
With an
earned
extended
it. Oh,
personal story.
okay, so as I've discussed, I created a character called a pimp named Slaughter, and it was an effort to promote things like the Comic Book Community Awards and C3, and just a way to have fun with this community. Because if you follow my Instagram, if you see my shorts on YouTube, like I'm always trying to make you guys laugh. I'm always trying to point out the quirky and funny things about this hobby that we enjoy so much, and just have fun with it, make fun of ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously. Because I think that's where we get in trouble a lot of time. Is there's a lot of comic book bros out here that just take themselves way too seriously. And it's like, we're 40-plus-year-old men collecting comic books. It's like, let's not take ourselves too seriously here. Okay? Let's not do that.
Let's just enjoy our hobby. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's not be serious about that. So that's what I like to do. I like to have fun. And I created Pimp Named Slaughter in that vein. And it was for C3 Comics Curing Cancer. And for C3, I also sold a slab. It was the Me You Love in the Dark, actually. I got it signed. It was the A cover, the Me You Love in the Dark. And I sold that just trying to, play my little small part in the money that they were raising for Comics Curing Cancer. And I actually ended up selling that to someone who's in the chat now. My brother, Bobby De La Ghetto.
Because I know what book you're going to show, so I'm just waiting for
it. Bobby De La Ghetto jumped in and bought my book and saved me the money on shipping because we live in Kansas City together. So we actually met up at a vintage stock, and I gave him his book without having to ship it, which was super cool. But if you know Bobby, he's the Kansas City comic book liaison. If you ever come to Kansas City, he's going to make sure he takes care of you, that you have a good time. And he always has gifts. It's very hard to meet up with Bobby and not come away with a gift. It's very few times that I've met him and not gotten a gift. And when I showed up to give him his slab, it was known any different. He had a gift for me. And it was actually another sketch cover that he did himself. It was a Bobby De La Ghetto original sketch cover. And I absolutely fucking love this thing. It's a Pimp Named Slaughter.
Cool.
Nice.
A House of Slaughter
Awesome.
blank cover. So he cut out a House of Slaughter. He put a Pimp Named Slaughter on there. And he drew himself a little pimp on there. And I absolutely
that is
love
crazy.
He shared this thing on Instagram. I was like, man, you should auction that thing off. That thing is amazing. Everybody wants it. But no, he actually just gave it to me. And sorry, guys, this is not getting auctioned off. It's staying right here.
And it was great
So
to
shout
see
out
how
to Bobby
happy you were when you got it.
Oh, man, I was lit, dog. I was so excited. I love this thing. And it is, and for me, it's like to do something in this community and to get a reaction for you guys. I really love it. I eat it up. I'm an attention whore when it comes to that stuff. So if I make a meme and you guys really love it, I fucking love it. I want to make you guys laugh. I want to have fun with you guys. So to create a character and then have someone do this, man, super awesome.
Yeah.
Love me some Bobby De La Ghetto, man. A great member of this community. If you're not plugged into Bobby on Instagram, definitely get plugged in. One of my favorite people in this game, man. And a great artist. Check it out.
And if you guys have never seen Bobby on a show or talked, Bobby is just one of the most legit, nicest people out there, too. He's just great.
One of the realest. The real fellow.
Knowledge like crazy.
Yeah.
Been in this game for a long, long time. Been going to Clint's Comics here in Kansas City, one of the longest running comic shops in the countries. And they know him well because he's been going there for decades. So, yeah, plug into Bobby, man. A great member of this community. I love that guy. Love you, Bobito. Babito. All right, so that was the one with the story.
Yep. Now you're on your specky.
Now we're gonna go with spec, and I'm gonna do a couple of books for this one. And this spec is gonna be born of my love for West Coast Avengers.
Ooh.
One of the fun things I did on Instagram was I shared a West Coast Avengers cover a day, starting with number 1, going to 101. So there was a section on my Instagram for one cover every day for 101 days till I showed every single West Coast cover because I love it, and I was excited to complete my run of it, which Bobby was actually crucial in helping me complete. Shout out to Bobby for that. Check out my first appearance of 1011 for the scoop on that because I did talk about it back then. But I love West Coast Avengers, and I absolutely love John Walker. This is Captain America 333, the first time that John Walker becomes Captain America, which has probably less value because he's already done this in the Captain and Winter Soldier book. But he is not done because at the end of that show, not book, but show, he pops out in the U.S. agent uniform, which is what I know him as. Yeah. And this is Captain America 354, his first appearance as U.S. agent, which I fucking love U.S. agent. He's a prick. He's an asshole. He's gonna mess everything up and be an a-hole about it, but he just makes things fun and interesting. And I love the dynamic between him and Hawkeye. They're both assholes, so it's really a fun dynamic with them. And I cannot wait to see what they do with this guy and with what is it, Contessa?
Right, in the Thunderbolt, right?
In the Thunderbolt, yeah.
And see how that goes. I know a lot of us aren't really excited, and it's hard to get excited about Marvel stuff because they start so much and they don't finish it, and you just you don't know what you're going to get anymore. But I'm hoping that they really bring it with Thunderbolts and that John Walker kicks some serious ass. So that's going to be my spec book. John Walker is coming, y'all. Be ready.
And plus, I never got the West Coast Avengers. I wish I had that run, but because it has a couple of my favorite characters in it too, with Julia Carpenter and Tigra.
Yeah, she comes late. Tiger's earlier. Yeah, she's an earlier member.
Yeah,
Mockingbird.
21.
And then
actually, she leaves in 21. Actually.
And did you ever get into Force Works? That was like a 22 issue.
I did.
Yeah,
it
had that weird folded open cover and.
Force Works was trash. And you know how I know Force Works was trash is because I knew it was trash when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, everything was good. Like I was super easy to please.
Right.
But when I read Force Work, I was like, this is not good. And this Sentry character is dumb. Like, remember Sentry? It was just he never came back, did he? Did he ever do anything outside of Force Works? Because I remember reading him as a kid, like, this character is dumb.
Like the only reason I have that run is for the Julia Carpenter.
Yeah. Force Works, baby. Yeah, that one didn't last long. How many issues was that? I don't even have that run. I have like 1 through 4.
I think it was 23. I have the whole series here.
Maybe I should add that to my list. Maybe I should go try and get the rest of it.
Just,
it's coming, Journey. It did.
Woman collecting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Thing did hang out with West Coast Avengers. There's some interesting interactions with Hawkeye desperately trying to recruit the Thing to West Coast Avengers while being an asshole to some other character. I forget her name. Yeah, Hawkeye's an asshole. Huge.
Yeah, but he's the asshole you love to love, though.
Yeah, I love him just because they treated him so shitty as an Avenger. Like he would always be the first one kicked out. He'd always be
he's crappy. That's why.
Yeah, how am I gonna pay my bills now? And then he got that job at it was the cross technologies or something, I think. And
Is that when he met Mockingbird? I think it was.
that's when he went up against Mockingbird and whatnot.
Be yours.
So,
Yeah,
or the Warbird or something like
yeah,
that.
Cross Technologies, who was run by the villain Darren Cross.
Darren
who
Cross,
becomes
right.
Yellow Jacket. So Hawkeye was working for a villain. And if you'd like to learn more about that, I did a little series called Comic Book Storytime. And the first episode is Beckerman, our homie Beckerman, telling you why Hawkeye never ever deserved Mockingbird, and it all starts right there from the beginning when Hawkeye's working with Cross Technologies. Hawkeye is a buffoon, a complete buffoon, and he never deserved Mockingbird. And if you disagree, watch that episode and then comment.
I think I just like the way he drew George Perez drew him. But yeah, he was Rodney Dangerfield in the Avengers, man.
It's funny because people have strong opinions of Hawkeye and Cyclops. They either like those characters or they hate those characters.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people hate Cyclops. I don't know a lot of people that hate Hawkeye, but I know I do.
I know. I think Jeremy Renner made him likable.
Yeah.
No, I like in the books, and I love him in the show. The Hawkeye series was great, but in the books, like I love to hate him though. Like I will read a Hawkeye book because I love to hate Hawkeye. So he's just such a douche.
That was a good spec though, and like you said, like I'm waiting for Wyatt Russell to come back and just be a complete dick on the big screen.
Yeah, well, dude, be my John Walker, brother.
He's busy right now doing Monarch.
And what I loved about his portrayal as him is he got the subtleties of him going crazy over time.
Yeah.
Like, and he did such a good job when you really saw him snap was when the Dora Milaje just handed his ass to him without even trying. They're like, yeah, you're nothing.
The other thing I like about John Walker in the books is that he is a complete douchebag and he's really easy to not like, but he's not all one thing. He's not all bad. Like he's not always wrong and he's not always bad. You know, sometimes he's just misguided. You know,
well,
right.
And when you have someone replace Steve Rogers, especially that time, it had to be somebody that is completely different than him. You can't have another goody two shoes take over the Cap role.
Right.
Yeah,
you can't do a copycat.
I agree.
You know,
and he was a great foil.
I think if they replace Steve today, you wouldn't see somebody that extreme again in that role because they're too sensitive about stuff now. Like that time with him and just watching that series, Marcus, did you have the same nerd moment like most of us? Like when that bloody shield comes up, you're like, oh man.
That was awesome. It was the best scene in that whole series.
Yep.
By far.
Like that just changed everything when that bloody shield.
Like, oh.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm like, you're like, oh, there's no going back from this.
There isn't. Yeah.
It's that you done fucked up moment.
Yeah, hopefully they pick that ball back up again because I've been thinking about it lately. I think we talked about it a while back on FOC and Chill how they've set up so many things and then just left it to never come back again. You know,
yeah,
and I think that's part of the problem with them is that set things up and follow through. You know,
nice. Well, Marcus, those are great books and great stories, sir.
Thank you for having me on. My
Dude,
second appearance.
The last couple times I had you on was with Brian, and I like to get you guys on just as yourselves too, not always with some agenda, you know. And I just like, man, I haven't had Marcus on a while. Talk some books and see what he's up to.
I'm always promoting something, you know. I've been known.
You know, and once upon a time, Marcus used to jump on and co-host, and then he started snubbing me, and it's been a whole.
No, you are never short. You always have like 6 co-hosts.
You know I'm picking on you.
I'm here anytime you need me, brother. Anytime.
But so for those of you who don't know, Marcus is one of my OG co-hosts.
Back in the day,
he popped in right after Jason and Jimmy.
Yep, Digger Jim was busy, so I filled in.
Right, yeah, he was going. Digger Jim was going through his God complex then.
Yeah,
he came back down to earth after a while.
Yeah, I'm back now. I'm safe. Please.
I do troll my co-hosts. That's what you guys are here for.
What up, Jim?
No, that's
agendas.
I love that. I have so many people that are willing to jump on and co-host because I think that's one of the things I love about this show is I'll plug anyone from any part of any community into it.
Yeah.
Well, you've got long arms in this community, so everybody loves them some Gary B, man.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
this is so. I talked about this on CJ's channel. That's how I do the Grow Together now, through co-hosts. Like when you meet Steve and Steve meets you, and you guys become friends, and you guys sub each other. You're not unsubbing each other the next day. That sub is sticking around forever.
Right.
At least until Steve steals some of your comics.
No.
Shout out to Epic Nation.
That was great. We're going to go around the horn. Love the books. I was waiting for the Bobby De La Ghetto one, the host show, though. I knew you were going to.
You knew I had to do that. I had to.
Of course you did. But Jim, what's coming up for you, sir?
I'm gonna go to Steel City Con tomorrow. I think I'm gonna meet Milt. Actually, he said he was gonna be there. I'm going with some friends. I was hoping to meet and hang out with Justin Birch there, but he said he wasn't going to make it. But I'm going to shoot some video of that, pick up some books. I've got a couple of things coming in the mail, so I'll have a couple of unboxings. And, I'm always out digging somewhere, so you might see. I tell you, man, shooting and trying to dig at the same time is hard. I'd rather just do little shorts. So I'm leaning towards more shorts in that than videos because
Now,
Do you have a body cam?
I have just something for my phone. I have a thing that I can put on my phone. And actually somebody gave me a body cam.
I've been trying to get Jim to do his other persona for a while, Gravedigger Jim. But he hasn't plugged any of it yet.
With the big truck and everything.
Bring the
Monster
bones.
truck.
Well, as I was showing you backstage, I do have another wig. I need to come up with another character for this.
See, there you go, Matt Woods. There it is. There's the wig.
I don't know what it's going to be yet.
Yeah.
You know what though? When you'll know when the inspiration's got to hit, you can't force it. It's just got to come.
Yeah,
out.
very true. Very true.
Yeah, that's when it's authentic. Steve, what's coming up for you, sir?
Well, I'm starting to hit my stride now here. I've been throwing out some videos, the Voices Choices on Wednesdays. Mondays, I seem to be doing like reviews on different books that I loved from my childhood. And then Fridays, I've been throwing out these AOK videos. So I might just keep doing that for a little while. So now I'm kind of, thanks to you, Gary, and watching all these other guys, Marcus, all these shows that I've been watching. I'm learning from all you guys, and I'm taking little tidbits of it and throwing it into my channel too.
You just
So
go.
That's how you do it, man.
That's
how you do it.
Yeah.
Steal the good stuff, man. Be shameless about it.
Absolutely. Talk about what you love, man.
So don't steal from me. There's no good stuff with me. Steal from everybody else. All right, coming up for me next week, we have Ben Parker Tuesday, which will be a blast. Ben's a
trash. That'll be trash for sure. I'm coming on just to rib him on that one.
You can come on next Tuesday. And then we have Thursday. Nauman's back again.
Nauman. I miss that guy. He's been A-okay for me.
He has, but I'm bringing him back next Thursday. We're bringing him back in. You can't let him get too far away from you.
Good stuff, man. I'll be there.
Right. And now, Marcus, what's coming up for you, sir?
Just same old every day, trying to make funny memes. I got a couple of funny ones I thought on Instagram. So if you're not plugged in on Instagram, I've got one kind of playing on the nostalgia of Wizard, which is doing better. But my favorite one was talking about the process of finding a book with no bag and board, like I talked about tonight, and the joy of saying, "I'm going to take care of you now, buddy. You've got somebody who loves you." So I really like that meme. So yeah, I'm always trying to come up with memes on Instagram, and then of course every Tuesday night on YouTube, Circumstances, we have our FOC and chill at 8:30 Central Time, and the link to join is always in the chat. So if you want to come hang out with a bunch of comic book nerds, you're always welcome.
And did I make you a mod on here yet?
Oh, I think I've been a mod for a really long time. Yeah.
I was gonna say on Tuesdays you can drop in and drop your link too to send people over there.
I will try and do that. I try not to be annoying, but yeah.
You're not.
I don't want to abuse my power here.
Come on, you're one of my OG supporters, Marcus.
For sure. For shizzle.
But guys, thank you very much. I want to thank everyone in the audience. We had a great turnout in the chat. Thank you guys so much. And
the chat was lit.
Seeing you guys for the first time, which is awesome. That's what I really love, when I get to see people for the first time. They're going to follow them. It's great stuff.
Shout out to 80s guy, my biggest fan, 80s guy.
Nice. Well, you know that
Right,
wig is from the
harder.
80s, so
Exactly.
I almost expect you to come out of a DeBarge video.
Ooh, that's an idea.
Gosh.
To be the rhythm of the night.
Dancing till the morning light.
Okay, the singing's happening. Okay, we need to leave.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I got to get my brain ready. So, as I like to say at the end of all these, keep it casual.